Hello and welcome to day 9 of the 12 days of whiskey, where we are looking at the 12 biggest selling whiskies in the UK. As always, I'm joined by John.
안녕하세요.
And today we're looking at the 4th biggest selling whiskey in the UK, and that is Bell's. Now, aside from a terrible design on the bottle, it's a classic design, I would say, where they've said we don't need to spend any money on it because everyone knows what it is at this stage. Nothing fancy or jazzy to get your attention. I'm just looking at the bottle's plastic, and I'm looking. Mine is totally scratched up. A weird one just on the side, totally scratched up bottle. So Bell's itself, it says it was established in 1825, but they were making single malts at that stage. It wasn't till Arthur Bell in 1851 decided he wanted a more robust whiskey, and he decided to blend his single malts together and created Bell's as we know it, if I hold it the right way to the camera here. So I don't think they make single malts anymore, do they? It's just they make this as their statement whiskey, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, why change something that's working for them? I mean, to me, Bell's is kind of the old man's whiskey. And if I upset any grandpas out there, I don't apologise for it. You can kind of, even on the small bottles, it just looks old. The labelling looks old. But again, why change something if it's working for them? So, yeah. Sorry, grandpas.
No, it makes sense. So on the bottle, it's obviously got written down like Arthur Bell and Sons on there, but this is a Diageo brand, just so you're aware, they do own it. The base for this whiskey comes from Blairful, which is in Pitlochry in Scotland, so halfway between, let's say, the Highlands and the actual south, the mainland of Scotland, let's say. I'm calling it the mainland, I mean like where people are, Edinburgh and Glasgow. But
you take the high road, I'll take the low road, mate. If you want to offend the people of Scotland, you go right for it.
That's not it. We're 2 days into the new year and we're just insulting as many people as possible. Isn't that great? This is a bottle of this will set you back 16 to 20 quid, and as I was saying just before, when I looked on Amazon, they're selling a litre bottle of this for £18. So definitely one of the cheaper ones on here. So we said White & McKay was perhaps the cheapest, but at times Bell's can rival it on pricing. I think it's time to crack it out and see what it's got to offer.
Yeah, and if anybody remembers our last sub-20 bottle, i.e. White & McKay, you knew how we felt about that. So high expectations is probably diluted at this stage with the Bells, but I mean, surely it can't be any worse than White & McKay.
Don't say that because you never know. I think I've poured more than I would normally at this stage. Is that me being optimistic for it, or just knowing that it's going to be quite lethal? Do you know what? I'm going to say it's a light ambery gold colour. It does have a slight deeper colour than perhaps yesterday's Johnny Walker Black, but I am concerned that, like White & McKay, I think there might be colouring in here. I don't know. Just when it comes to the cheap,
I believe it is. I mean, at this stage, we're kind of trying to pluck 50 shades of amber out for you, with descriptions of colour. So, I mean, if it just sounds like we're trying to think of a strange colour, maybe, BCFDL1 colour chart, I don't know. But it's kind of, just diluted. I mean, I will say we're already in the new year, so sod it. It's kind of like you've had 3 beers and you go for your first pee. It's that kind of jazz going on. Well, Mr. Wilson will get that statement.
It just really, I'm so thirsty after you mentioned that now. Thank you. Let's get a nose on it.
Yep, let's get a nose on that steel pea that we've got in our glass. Just
very boozy, straight off. The alcohol just hitting on it. But yeah, the booziness is there, but behind it,
it's kind of grain filled.
Yeah, that sort of grain cereal element to it, and wood.
Slight hint of vanilla, slight coconut, but that could just be the graininess. But not a lot going on, it has to be said.
That is, I mean, yeah, after the booze, it is just, as you say, very vanilla in two terms, isn't it? Yeah. Wood, grain, and some other fruity bits in the background, but they're not overpowering at all in any way. Right, we should always caveat that this is supposed to be, well, most people would drink this as a mixer, not neat. We are trialing the base tastes of all these whiskies at this stage.
I mean, some people have just got a hint there of like a paint stripper, like that acetone is kind of just on the edge. It just as you move it past, it's kind of, you leave the booziness, and it's kind of like a thinner.
See, I get the booziness. Yeah, thankfully I'm not getting acetone levels, and I'm not going to try and force myself to pick that up because I don't want to be slightly put off with that. But yeah, I'm ready to go in. It smells like wood and a bit of fruit maybe on it, but let's see what we get from it. Cheers, lad.
Cheers.
Wow. What can I say? Firstly, it's not smooth. It feels very grainy to me. A lot of pepper, a lot of pepperiness, and there is oak. There's wood, oak in there, but
yeah, it's. I mean, for me, it's very thin, very light.
There's not a finish really on it. That's the thing. That was such a short finish. It doesn't feel like there's anything there, and that's what you're right with that. It's thin. It's very thin, and that just leads to sort of no body, no true finish on it. I mean, the end. It just I've got a very dry tongue with lots of pepper flavors.
Yeah, there's not a lot going for it, both on the nose or on the palate. You know, it's kind of very one-dimensional of a whiskey.
And is that what makes it good as a mixer then at that stage? You know, that's probably the whole concept, because it has nothing that stand out on its own. So when you mix it with something, it's the perfect whiskey for it.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of is approachable. It's an easy sipper, as of a want, if you have it straight, because there's nothing complex about it. If you just want a whiskey that's over and done with, you're kind of aiming for this. But yeah, a little bit of dryness on the end, a little bit of tingle when you first put it in, just on the lips and the front of the tongue. But that just fades straight out as it goes through the palate. But yeah,
I think the word that I'd be looking for is it's palatable. unlike White McKay, which was quite offensive in the sense of not easy to drink, you can drink this. You can drink it. It's just there's nothing that stand out amazing about it, but there's nothing offensive about it. It's inoffensive. It's palatable. It's a whiskey, and as I say, based on those sort of concepts of it, there's not the overpowering flavour, the bit of pepperness. You can see people mixing it. It's perfect. Chuck a bit of Coke in. There you go. There's your whiskey and Coke.
Yeah. And while it's light on any complexity whatsoever, it's kind of more of a sweeter dram. There's no sourness, there's no bitterness, there's no, it's dry, but not overly dry, but it just leaves just a slight bit of sweetness. But, it's kind of what some people would say an old man's type of whiskey, because it's just smooth, one dimension. You don't have to think about it.
I don't find it bad. That's the thing. Yeah, I find it run of the mill. I can see why people drink it. It leaves that slight dryness, as you say, on the tongue. It leaves pepperness behind. I get a tiny bit of citrus now as well. So I've had like 3 sips of it, and I get like a little citrus build as well. So it's got a mix of flavors that are what you expect for whiskey. And it does have, it's not just one flavor. It's not just saying, that's it on pepper. It's got different flavors that come through there, but it's quite a short finish in my eyes. It feels very short apart from the drying left on the tongue. And that's where I think with Coke, it counteracts that and it would be perfect. But I can see why it's in the top selling, mainly because it is quite a average whiskey at a very good price. And if you're going to be mixing, you don't want to be choosing expensive stuff.
Yeah. And by average, it's kind of average in the good sense.
Yeah, that average is
not average vendable, it's average in the best of terms.
Yeah, average means that, as I said, it's inoffensive. There's no off notes, apart from the nose was a bit boozy in my eyes, and for you, it had a bit of acetone, didn't it, at that stage, or paint stripper. So the nose maybe wasn't the most inviting nose, but the flavour and aftertaste of it is palatable, perfectly fine by me. Right, well, this is the 4th best-selling whiskey in the UK. We're breaking into the top 3, so join us tomorrow to find out what is the 3rd best-selling whiskey in the UK of 2023. Take care, everyone.
And young Castle.